Alright everybody, take number 3 here. You don't want to see those other takes. Marco from Rookie Van Expediting here. Giving you updates on the road. Getting out of finding a clear spot on the 401 is like a needle in the haystack, and here we are out of horrible traffic. Looks to be some icy patches on the road, so we better keep it careful here while we accelerate the heck out of a slow, compacted area of traffic on the 401. So, what do we want to talk about today? In my last video that I tried to make, it took me 18 minutes to say this, so I'm going to try to say a million things in 5 minutes here, and about 2 subjects. Number 1, being careful around forklift operators, and careful with your equipment, careful with your van, careful with your hands, and risking injury. Number 2 is, will you see the country in a expedited van? I should probably make this 2 separate videos. As we nearly get clipped by a car carrier. Whew, man. I'm telling you, man, I love Canada. I've always loved Canada, but I'm learning something going here so frequently. You have got to be of your utmost careful. It doesn't look like safety or caution is on anybody's mind as soon as I cross the border. Isn't it anywhere I go, regardless of a border? Well, probably, yeah. But there seems to be with these forklift operators, it just seems to be a thing. But let me not get, start into some divisionary kind of talk. Let's just say universally anybody can be dangerous with a forklift. Although I find in certain places, people, and it seems to be also when I get prepared, I've got my parking brake set. They're super careful. They move inch by inch. They listen to what I'm saying. They let me guide them, tell them, okay, you've got another inch. Hey, hold it right there, because there's my bumper. And they seem to already know. I've had girls that okay, there I go, that doesn't make a difference, but were like one girl and it was so super careful, and here I was worried, here's going to be the bad forklift operator. It was the best ever, super careful. Now I just had a young man at another shipper here over the border, and just nonsense. He crushed my fingers before I could say anything. It was, so what I'm getting at here is, when you get to a shipper, even if you haven't parked at a door yet, always set even if you think you're going to move 3 more times, here's what I'll tell you what I learned today. Not telling you guys. I'll tell you what I learned today. Set your parking brake. As soon as you're going to walk into the shipping door, set your parking brake, because you don't know if they're going to load you right on the spot. They almost always have told me to find a door, and this one, they started loading me right where I had parked, and I hadn't set the parking brake. And what do you know? This was a forklift operator that was mashing into my bumper, pushing the van forward against its parking pawl, which they call it PAWL, which can damage the internals of a transmission that are locking your van in park, but, it's not designed to lock against 3,000 pounds of force coming from a tow motor, pushing a skid into your van when the guy hasn't lifted the forks up enough and it starts catching on the lip of your plywood. So, I had to instruct this guy to, you'll know the first thing, if you have to tell the guy to level out his forks because he can't see that the angle he's coming in at is not the right angle for your van, right there that you got problems. But here's also what I learned today that you should take this note too. Tell the forklift operator before anything, my van is not a toy. I've had some pretty rough, I know you know what you're doing, but I have had some rough forklift operators, so please be careful, and I'm going to try to guide you, or I'll try to scream out if anything is not going to work. I'm going to use my eyes, or whatever way you word it. Let him know you're going to be the eyes that he doesn't have, and you're going to give him shout out some instructions if there's anything going wrong. Let them know that you're going to give commands, because some of them aren't operating or moving like you make any difference or you can call the shots, yet they are just basically trying to run it in blind. And they are blind from their angle in the seat. They can't see what you see, and it's definitely a different looking situation. So, some aren't as willing to take that into account. Another thing is, if you get it turned, never count the skids that they tell you you're going to have. I got, oh yeah, 1 skid, great. I get there, oh no, it's 3 skids. They never communicate properly. So it's 3 skids, no big deal. If you get 3 skids, you should put 1 in first, and then if they can stack them, which I asked, this will fit 3 skids, but then I have to put up the bed. And if I have to put up the bed, it's just simply not as comfortable. It's more shuffling around. It's better. It works out if they can stack one of the skids. Then they can just throw them both in there. The bed can stay down. I got a place to jump into when I need to. Everything's good. So if they're going to load them, have them put the 1 skid in first and then the 2 in the back. I didn't even think of that, and this guy starts loading the 2 in first and the 1 in the back. The problem that creates is a couple of problems it creates. Number 1, I had to do some extra tie downs because the skid on top doesn't have any bracing. If I hit anything going forward or something should happen, that 500 to 1,000 pounds is coming flying at me. So no good there. So I had to work some extra some tie down straps to get it held down. When the van it's hard to, once it's loaded, it's hard to get around the sides and get anything strapped down anyways. So it's a real pain. Number 2, when I go to get unloaded now, it's going to be an extra tug to pull that out of the van, when if that was the first set of skids, they could unload those, then you only have 1 500-pound skid to try to pull back with your tow rope that's provided, or probably should be provided in your van. I would think you get one of those. So that's that. When he started having difficulty pushing the van in, first thing, he didn't realize that he was stuck against part of the pallet, was catching on the lip of the plywood, so it wasn't going to go forward anyways. He needed to lift it up a bit, but he didn't. He wasn't listening. He said, do you have a piece of wood? I had a piece of wood, and I had an idea on where to put it, but he had a different idea. So I went with his idea to just drape it across the front. He'll put the ends of the forks up against that piece of wood, and he can push it in that way. Great. But what has to happen is he has to listen and go on your command when he can't see anything. There's no sense in him just suddenly going as soon as he thinks it's good, and your fingers are in the way, because guess what happened? My fingers were in the way, and I play guitar, and that's my guitar fretting fingers. I'm less worried. If it was these fingers that started getting pinched, no problem. And it got to the point where I screamed, and he was able to back off. It felt like if there was any more pressure, it got right to the point where there was going to be some broken bones. But luckily he backed off. I was able to pull my hands out, and I still got movement. There's just a tiny bit of, it's all gone away, any redness, any soreness, so I think I'm okay, but it's not 100% what it was before I got there, you know? So last thing I want is any nerve damage or any kind of damage to my fretting fingers. I have such an important job when it comes to me playing guitar, and you need a lot of precise movement of your fingers. Am I a professional guitarist? No. Do I try to give guitar lessons? Could that be a future job for me? Yes, I do give guitar lessons on my YouTube channel, which I've talked about before. Mind's Eye Visual Guitar Method, if you want to check it out. So that's that. I didn't have my fingers out of the way. He began pushing the thing, and it felt the crushing pressure on my fingers, and I had stop, and I had to pull my finger out of there. And then I was short with the guy. He could tell I was angry, but I can't be happy after something like that happened. And I felt like I might have had to go and tell them I was just injured, which could jeopardize my employment here. So that being said, he backed the tow motor back, and he could tell, I think, that I wasn't very happy with the situation, but it is what it is, you know. Maybe he'll get the idea that he should be listening more. And he mentioned a little after that He said, "Hey, buddy, you got to speak up. I can't hear what you're mumbling there. I need, if you're going to guide me, I need to hear you." Well, if that was the case, then how about when I had my hands in the zone and you couldn't see what was going on? Why didn't you wait for any commands then? That would have been helpful. So let's leave that where it is. My advice to you is be very careful with forklift operators, especially if there's a moment where you're trying to help them out, but your hands or any part of your body is going to be in the way of that tow motor, and especially you're north of the border. Be very careful, because the only problems I've had with rough forklift operators have been from Ontario to Quebec, Canada, and every time I've been to a loader south of here, it seems like I get someone super careful. It's almost like the country that's so happy has everybody, working to be really careful. But I don't know. That's just some opinions of mine. Don't take them with anything more than a grain of salt. And I guess I'm going to do a second video here just to make this easier to upload. I'm going to do a second video today, and that's entitled, Will You Get to See the Country being a van expediter? That's one thing that sells this job is you'll get to see the country. That's one great thing about this job. You're going to see the United States from the wheel of your van and your salt-encrusted windows. So I'm going to tell you all about that and what you do get to see and what you might not get to see on your way, on your next video. So thanks for listening to this. Moral of the story, watch them forklift guys. They're blind from the seat they're sitting in. They may be in a mode of shoving and grabbing things quick and fast because that's their job. That's what they do all day in the warehouse, whipping that forklift tow motor around, shoving pallets into places where no human beings are going to get hurt. So they may not be used to the sudden you and your nice new van that you want to keep protected and all your limbs and humanness that might be in jeopardy of their rambunctious moves on that forklift tow motor. So there you go. Have a great day. Let me know in the comments if you've had any experiences with tow motors. It really helps if you like this video, if you will click like, all 5 of my subscribers and anybody else who sees this. If you'll click like, that would be awesome. That'll keep me making these videos and keep this channel going. Because I don't know if I'm going to continue it, but I don't know how exciting this is or how useful this is to anybody. So there you go. Remember to click like, subscribe if you want. I'd love that, and we'll see you soon on the next video we make once we're outside of Canada and we can upload without eating up our roaming data. See you soon.